everyone. Welcome to my show, Soul Tea with Marie. I have a special guest today, but I just want to say that before we begin, that you can find me on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and I also have a website if you want to book a reading at AntoinetteMarie.net. So my special guest is Leslie, who does all things. Well, she's a medium, she's a psychic, she has a lot of gifts that she uses. But twin flames is what we're going to be focusing on today. And this is her book, just so you know. I did put it up if you have me on Instagram. I don't know if you can see it. There it is. And we're going to be talking about that this evening. I only have 20 minutes with everyone. So if you want an extended version of this, go to my YouTube channel. She and I will continue the chat over the next week or two, and you'll hear all about it. So, Leslie, tell them who you are.
Hi, everybody. My name is Leslie Sampson, and I am a certified psychic medium. I'm also a writer. This is my book, Find Your Twin Flame. It's about almost 20 years of research in metaphysics and also coexisting with my twin flame who is on the other side. I have a lot of irons in my spiritual fire, but twin flames is my main focus.
So let me ask you, let's just begin there. How did you begin that journey?
Well, I started my spiritual journey when this spirit just kind of busted into my consciousness and broke all my boundaries and defied all my rules and was like, boom, hello. And literally said hello. And I was terrified. And then about, I don't know, almost 2 years later, year and a half, 2 years later, I found out that he was my twin flame. And I was like, what? What is that? And why does it mean anything to me? I don't get it. So that's kind of from there is where I started down my, I guess
your twin flame path. Let me ask you this, because that is rare. Most people find their twin flame or soulmate. Twin flames are a little bit different. They usually find them here, but your twin flame, you realize, was your twin flame on the other side. Did you ever meet him here on Earth in 3D?
In 3D, no, I did not, sadly. Come to find out, once upon a time, he was actually 45 minutes away from my house. And I didn't know it at the time. I didn't know him or anything about him.
Wow.
We've been close, but no, we did not ever meet on this plane. And it's interesting because, there is a lot of focus on meeting your twin flame on Earth. But what people don't realize is that it's more common for, one twin to be here and the other twin to be on the other side helping you out. So I didn't know that before
I didn't know that either. That makes a lot of sense, because a lot of times the reason why you have a twin flame is so that you ascend, or so that you have a spiritual awakening and that you move up. It's more the soulmate is where you get the love and the angst and the, all the karmicness with it. But it's the twin flame that, at least in my opinion, correct me if I'm wrong, in my opinion, it's the twin flame where it's more about the spirituality of it and ascending and then being of service. And you're both of service. And so how does that work for you to be of service? Because you come together with your twin and then you create something together and you're of service together. So how does that work with your twin on the other side?
Well, luckily for me, I'm a natural born medium, psychic medium. So that actually is very helpful. We actually function as, one, basically.
And how, what do you mean by that? Function as one?
Well, our energy is equal. Our energy is the same. So even though there's a plane that separates us, every step I take, he takes. Every step he takes, I take. So, there was a time when I actually could close my eyes and actually see exactly where he is on the other side and exactly what he's doing. So we work that way together. Now, do you need to be a psychic? No, you don't. You really don't, because twin flames are connected by a cord, sort of like an umbilical cord, that transcends all space and time. So it's literally sort of feeding into that connection and kind of tugging on that cord a little bit, that can actually uh, help you day to day in working your lessons and walking your path with your twin.
Would you say that your twin still has lessons to learn and he's able to learn them through you? Are you able to? That's one question. I have two that go with it. And are you able to either cut the cords of his karmic human the things that he's done here that he needed to cut cords with? Are you able to do some of that?
Well, actually, yes. When we started this journey, I had built up in my mind an enormous dam to block all of my memories and all the crap that I didn't want to deal with. And he had to help me take that down brick by brick by brick.
You mean your childhood?
Yes,
Think
everything.
everything. Got it.
And but he had one, but it wasn't a dam. His was more like suitcases, different colors, different sizes, different shapes. Some of them were, square. Some of them were like, bags that you carry over like a backpack. So we had different approaches, but it was kind of the same concept. And we discovered most of the time the things that we had left to learn were very similar. Like we had reached as far as we could on our own in this particular lesson, like trauma from our childhood, for example, and couldn't go any further without one another. So that was it. Do we get to cut the cords to that? Well, sometimes yes and sometimes no. It just depends, and if we've actually progressed far enough to do it.
Do you believe that you're part of his ascension as well? Even though he's on the other side, do you believe that what you do here is part of that?
I do, actually, because I firmly believe that everything that we accomplish, we do together. And even if it isn't necessarily something I'm working on, I know that he is, and vice versa. So, absolutely. I mean, just because they're on the other side doesn't mean the soul stops evolving and stop learning and stop growing. And, I think it's important to remember that because, even though we no longer have like the confines of this sort of earthly body, we still have our crap to deal with, basically, It doesn't go away ever.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. Not at all. I'm curious. So, there's a lot of, I call them misconceptions when it comes to your twin. So, what I have heard is that when you have your twin, you're at the same frequency, but your spirituality is the same. And I don't know if I quite believe that because I think everybody's kind of shifting and we're learning. It's almost like we overlap our twin. Like they go here and then they pull you up and then you pull them up. And even if they're on the other side, sometimes your spirituality can outweigh theirs and vice versa. And maybe even though we're 3D or not 4D or 5D, we still have our higher selves up there that are, we're like little puppets. This is assimilation. We're learning, we're growing. What are your thoughts on that?
I agree. I actually believe that, it's sort of, I don't think we overstep. I think we step together. In the sense that, for example, if let's say he was more spiritually inclined to one religion than myself, okay, well then I get to learn about that religion and then he gets to learn about mine.
Oh,
And
right.
You know what I mean? So we get to learn from one another and we get to express to one another our experiences. And it makes it a lot easier because then that whole concept of 3D, 5D, 4D, all that, it kind of disappears a little bit because it becomes less about, the physicality and more about the learning and the evolving. And that's not just for people who have a twin on the other side. That's for twin flames in general. That's the whole point and purpose of a twin flame and soul revolution. So that's the purpose. I mean, that's the evolution. That's what happens. It See how I get when I talk about it? It's natural. That's the whole goal, the whole point, the whole purpose. So it's going to happen. You can't. There's no way around it. You have to do that work.
Right. Right. I agree. No, you absolutely do. I mean, that's the whole point. What do you think about, so actually two things. I want to ask you kind of a funny question because your twin flame is over there. So, here, if we're both here on Earth, so you have the push and pull. I don't completely subscribe to that, but the push and pull or the fighting, whatever. So, do you ever get into arguments with your twin flame? I know this is
Well,
really woo-woo. Some people out there going like, "What are those ladies talking about?" But I'm just
okay,
curious.
I'm like the queen of weird and woo woo. Okay, I get it. But do we ever get into arguments? Absolutely. I don't know of a relationship that exists where you don't have some kind of disagreement. Now, does it mean that we yell and scream and fight or whatever? No, no, not. I don't. I can't think of any existence or any point in our existence together where that's actually happened. But do I call him a name? Yeah. Like
That's great.
when he first came to me, I was like, "Why me? It's expletive. I hate you. Why are you doing this to me? I just leave me alone." And yeah, he took it. So now he gets a little revenge every now and then. But
Well, it's been a lot of years now. Did you have you were already spiritually awakened when he came, correct? Okay, because so when my twin came, I was not spiritually awakened. I don't know, mine's a whole story, but um I'm gonna change gears just a little bit here. What do you think is the difference between a twin flame and a soulmate? And I know that's heavy. I know we only have a few more minutes here, but go for it.
here's my simple explanation that I always use to answer this question. A twin flame, you only have one of. A twin flame is you're equal on a soul level in every way. You only have one. Okay. Soulmates, you have a multitude. You can have billions of them at any given point. Okay. And the reason they're called a soulmate is because they match the vibration of your soul that exists with you and your twin flame. So your twin flame comes in and makes the mess, turns everything upside down, knocks stuff over. It's like it looks like a total, the day after a huge gigantic party. Your your soulmate comes in and helps you clean it up.
Oh, yeah, that's
So
true.
that's how I've always sort of explained it because I mean there's more to it than that. But the bottom line is your twin flame when you come into contact with one another, you meet one another, that evolution starts to continue at a deeper rate. And so sometimes it feels like a roller coaster ride. There's ups and downs and ins and outs, and you don't know what to do. And then sometimes you just need somebody else to help you through it. Enter a soulmate. When I started on this, I had nobody. And then the further I got on this journey, the more people started showing up and going, "Wait a minute, tell us about this twin flame thing, because what is this?" And
Mhm.
then I started having soulmates to help me get through it.
I find that interesting what you said about how your twin flame comes into your life and then the soulmate cleans up the mess, or almost like you go through certain lessons with the soulmate, which would really go with what you said earlier about the twin flame being on the other side. So it's almost like they don't participate in that. They come, they drop the lesson, they drop the spirituality of it all, whatever the gift is, and then they're like, okay, I'm going to hand you over to this person and you're going to go learn those lessons. And,
I
you know,
yeah,
when
I
it
worked
ends, let me know.
right. I worked with someone one time who described it as that her twin flame came and dropped a spiritual H bomb.
Right.
I
That's
was like,
exactly what it is.
oh, oh, perfect. So, and that's not to say that it's terrible. It's not. It's not supposed to be hard. People will want
No.
to say, well, they'll want to make it hard. But it's not supposed to be. It's supposed to be whatever you want, you know?
What I always have take issue with is when someone or when I hear a lot of people talking about twin flames and it goes into the abusive lane or the extreme fighting or the extreme he's my twin flame or she's my twin flame but she's cheating, he's lying, and I'm like, I think that's a karmic. We can't say it's each person's journey, but what I have seen is if it's a true twin flame, you don't have that, but they might bring in the soulmate where you will experience all of that. But they don't, I don't believe that they put you through all of that because the love is so pure. Yes, you have that argument, like I said, when you're trying to grow and you're breaking out of the onions are peeling back and you're breaking out of your shell. Um, I do think you can have that angst against your twin, like, I can't go, especially if they're on the other side. I can't go there. I can't go. Okay, fine, fine. I'll do it. I'll do it. But I think that's as far as it goes. Once you start getting into lying, cheating, abusing, I don't necessarily believe we're dealing with the twin flame. What are your thoughts? What do you think?
Here's what I say to this, because I actually write about this. There's a whole subchapter in here in my book about it. Your twin flame is exactly the same as you are on the soul level and messes you pretty parallel in your existence. Okay. So why would there be any need for your twin flame to harm you in any way? If you're with someone and they, abuse you in any way, physically, emotionally, sexually, etc., that is not your twin flame. If they, you know, cheat on you or treat you terribly in any way, shape, or form, there's no way that's your twin flame because it doesn't serve a purpose. It doesn't evolve the soul. There
Right.
might there might be a lesson in there somewhere, but I don't know what you would learn from a situation like that, to be honest, other than to try to help yourself get out of it, and learn to not maybe put yourself in that situation. I'm not really sure what the lesson would be there, but it doesn't evolve the soul. So
Mhm.
there, so therefore, if it doesn't evolve the soul, it is not within the confines of the twin flame relationship. It just isn't.
Right. I, I,
And I,
I completely agree with that. And I want to take it a step further because I know people are out there going to say, well, but not everyone's perfect and everybody has flaws and there are cheaters. And what I think is eventually we all do have a twin flame, but we may not have one right now. And that person who is abusive or is cheating or lying, they they may not have, now I'm not an expert, they may not have evolved to the point of having a twin flame. That hasn't opened up to them. And then when they do evolve out of that part, you reincarnate however it works, and then you move into having, you're ready for the twin flame connection, and then you start that journey because we live forever, essentially, usually. But I mean,
usually,
that's a whole other subject. We're not
oh
going to go
Lord,
there.
yes. But I get what you're saying, especially when it comes to like karmic relationships and things like that, where, uh, sometimes karma is repaid in the worst way possible. But I maintain if it is your twin flame and you have come together there has to be some point of soul evolution where you, when you come together, you realize that it is not beneficial to yourself, to your twin, to your soul path to continue on an abusive, an abusive uh,
I agree.
journey.
One 100%. I agree with that, and that's my belief as well. That they can't be a twin flame for you. Now they can still have, say, they're passive aggressive. They might have you know what I mean? They might, if you're passive, if you have the same type, they will still be like that. But you can be passive aggressive without it taking it to extreme. You know what I mean? They still keep their personalities. They can still be sarcastic and funny, but you know, I don't think that ever leaves. I think
Oh,
we stay who we are.
oh, definitely. In my work as a medium, that's one of the ways that we prove, and I know that you know, one of the ways that we prove the continuity of life is to actually share personality traits, likes, dislikes, favorite sayings, etc. Like that. That stuff continues. So it's the same goes along the lines of your twin flame. If they're on the other side, or even if they're here, it doesn't matter. They are who they are on a soul level, and that is the exact same as who you are on a soul level. So it's really hard. That was the hardest part for my brain to get, is that it doesn't matter what we look like in our happy little physicality. All that matters is that little part inside of you.
I don't know. My twin flame better be good looking over there. That's all I got to say.
Well, I gotta think we're all beautiful when we get over there. We return to who we are, our soul. So, but all that matters is that your soul is just along for it's being housed in this body so it can learn and evolve, and that's all that matters. Took me a long time to learn that.
Okay, so I have a controversial question for you that, there's 50-50, people go either way. So your twin flame, twin soul counterpart, whatever you want to call it, were you one split apart, or were you two came together as one? Dun, da, da, da.
Dun, da, da, da. Okay, yeah, this is like crazy. Okay, here's how it was explained to me, and here's how I've learned. A soul is created by infinite intelligence, divine intelligence, God. Insert your moniker here. Okay, a soul is created. It has the same divine DNA, same blueprint. Then it's divided. It's not like cutting an orange in half, because when it's separated, it becomes two complete souls, because each soul has divine, divine white universal energy, and then masculine and feminine energy, and the same soul blueprint. So, by the way, that's where we get 1111, because the 11s represent divine feminine and divine masculine in each soul. Anyway.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Is that in your book? Did I miss it? I gotta reread. I gotta reread the book.
It is. But so no, they're not. It's not like a soul was literally split in half, and I only get half of the divine chromosomes, and my twin Chico only has he has the other half. No.
So so it's, are you talking about an oversoul?
No.
Okay.
No. It's literally, when it splits, it's split into a complete soul.
So what was it before?
It was one.
Okay.
And it contained all of the stuff that you need.
Mm-hmm.
And then I put it, like, for example, if I take a box of cake mix and I divide it into two bowls, it's still complete cake mix, even though I split it apart. Terrible analogy, but blame my guides, okay? Terrible analogy. So it's still complete.
Is it vegan? Anyway, I digress.
Yes, actually, it is. But the important thing to remember is that the reason why they're complete is because they still contain the same amount of energy that is necessary for a soul to actually exist.
Got it. Got it.
So that way, we don't, yeah. So that's why the soul recognizes its mate. That's why it's not gender specific. That's why, my twin flame could actually reincarnate as my dog if they wanted to.
Hmm.
Yeah, you
Well,
don't.
that's a whole other subject right there.
Oh yeah.
Or that's, yeah, for sure. Interesting. I always, we'll have to discuss it more because I always subscribe to the theory that we were two souls because of free will and that eventually we decided to become one. But that doesn't mean I'm right. So, curious.
I have learned, very important. There's no right or wrong, and no one can tell you what's right or wrong when it comes to twin flames because it's your soul.
Right. Absolutely. So, absolutely. And it's nice to hear both viewpoints because people, who's ever listening, everybody's coming from a different place. However, we only have a few seconds left, about 30 seconds left. So I want to make sure everybody knows where to find you.
I'm also on socials, Facebook, Insta, and TikTok. And my website is lesliesampson.com. And
that's just so you know, it's LeslieSampson.
Correct. Yes.
And she is a medium, a psychic. You can find her on my website as well. I have her there, and her book is there, and her book is also on Instagram, Amazon. You can find her book there, and she is, can I say, you may or may not be writing another book? So anyway, I just want to thank everyone for listening, and thank you, Leslie, for coming. Hopefully you will come back and we will discuss some more, and I'll see you on my YouTube channel. Absolutely.